read what you want. Read what you enjoy reading. And don't let anybody shame you for it. Have you met us? We are hilarious.
Exactly.
All right, I've got
I also feel like I'm gonna get dirty. I'm probably gonna drop food on me or some
I
shit.
have 95 questions. How many do you think we'll get through?
95?
Some of
Oh
them
my
might
gosh.
be repeats. I haven't read them all yet, so.
Some are.
Trying to decide where I want to start.
This is also ASMR.
I'm not into that shit.
Damn.
I really don't like it. Like, it makes me really uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think Nyx deserves to make an appearance. She looks a little too cozy over here.
Yes, let me see that. Let me see it. Let me see it.
I love you. She purrs.
Hi.
Baby.
Hi.
Everybody, this is Nyx.
Hi.
The newest member of the household. She is a
Hi.
vampire.
Hi. All I can say is hi. So, I ready to get started? I can put my food to the
Whenever
side.
you're ready.
Should I put my hair down?
Performing.
She's performing for the camera. That was literally the cutest thing you could have done.
Oh.
Baby.
What a cute little baby girl. Of course. Of course I will.
We're going to start it off before we even do introductions. What is everyone's supernatural creature they identify as? Nyx is a vampire.
A wizard frog.
That checks out.
Okay. I want to turn that off.
Or are you being serious? We're recording this the day before Halloween.
True.
This might come out after Halloween, actually, though.
How dare you not edit and turn this video around in under 24 hours?
Goodbye, Nyx. Fun.
So yeah, guys, hi, welcome back to the channel. So we normally will do, a book talk. We discuss any books that we're reading for the month, and we're still going to do that, but just not this video.
Not this one.
Our next book that we are reading, if you checked the last book talk, we hadn't decided fully yet, or Mary hadn't decided fully yet, but the next book we're reading is Lady Macbeth by
Ava Reed.
Whoever. Ava Reed.
Copies of it around.
I see it right there.
Right there. I see it over there.
I still need a copy, so
I've got plenty.
So, hopefully I can, I don't think it's gonna happen, unfortunately, but I'm hoping tomorrow I go to Barnes & Noble and get it from using the gift card that Vanessa got me for my birthday, so I can just read it on my trip,
It's like
airports
a
and all.
small one. You could probably read it like on the plane.
It's a 9-hour audiobook, so like it's pretty small.
It's under 300 pages. Yeah,
that's my plan. It's just I don't have a car.
That's fair.
And I work tomorrow.
Rude.
So I don't think it's gonna happen. So oops.
The book to you. They actually might. You should look.
You should look, yeah. But so instead of having that book talk ready for you guys, we've been talking about doing this video, which is like a get to know us, the readers, video for a while. We've been talking about doing this for a while, and so what a proper way to do it now when we have we want to.
We have the time.
So
the video needs to go up. Content.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So again, this is being done Christmas day before Halloween,
Christmas.
but it'll probably Merry Christmas, Merry Chrysler.
Happy Crisis.
Before probably the first. Well, because I'm going on vacation, so I don't know exactly what it'll go.
Are you gonna vlog your vacation?
Perfect.
Yes, I'm going to see Taylor Swift in concert, so of course.
All right. Yep. Are we ready for question number 1?
I'm ready.
Yeah, what is question number 1? I'm Lucia, by the way.
Fine. If you don't know who we are at this point, why are you even here?
Our intro and our outro are just the same, and if this is your first video,
every time
sucks. You don't get to know us.
It could be someone's. It could be someone's
They're
first.
gonna have to guess who's who.
Yeah, you get to know our answers to these riveting questions before you get to know our names.
Well, I said Lucia already.
You don't get to know the rest of us.
All right, question number 1. What's the first book
Question
you
number one.
ever remember reading?
Like when I was learning to read.
The first one you remember?
Magic Treehouse.
All right.
Yeah.
That was like the first chapter book.
Well, I remember. I have like a bad experience with reading out loud. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, you would have to get presented, or you wouldn't have to, but you would get picked to read out loud. And I guess I was shy, or whatever. At that point, I was shy, or I was nervous, or what. I'm a pretty outgoing person. I want to be, but I have to want to do it. Presentations, But the teacher, I guess she didn't have any patience for a child being nervous, and she was like, sit down, but like an ugly sit down. But I'm actually glad that didn't deter me away from reading.
Very true.
Now that didn't answer the question, but I remember reading, always being around books though. It's just so I can't just say one in particular. Like I've always been around books.
Is Judy Bloom a series?
What about you?
Judy Bloom is an author.
Yeah.
What was the series that she wrote?
But
there was like,
I thought it was Judy Bloom.
The author. No, you're thinking Junie B. Jones, which is the first book I ever read.
Then maybe that's
Junie
B.
Jones. That's what it is.
Stupid stinky bus.
Yeah.
I do. I
that's
think
what
I read
it is.
that
Yes.
When I was younger too.
Judy Bloom wrote
Goosebumps.
What is it? Dear God, It's Me, Margaret, or something like that.
I didn't read that.
Judy.
I know that book, but I haven't read it.
The generation right before is like Lindsay knows Judy Bloom really well.
Yeah.
I know who that is.
But
I am older than y'all.
Junie B. Jones.
Junie B. Jones.
And the stupid stinky bus.
Goosebumps.
I didn't read all of Goosebumps. I do also remember I did have a Warrior Cats phase. I think I read 3 of those books.
That checks out. That checks out.
And I've never read any of those books.
The only thing that I remembered was that like these cats were presented as humans. Like everything about them was human, like except for the fact that they were cats. Like that's a wild.
That's like the
series
exact opposite of Hello Kitty, who everything about her is like it's a cat, but she's a human.
She's a human. Yep.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like that's not a human.
Fucked with Animorphs. that was a good series.
Yeah, I like Animorphs too.
I'm really
I like Animorphs.
I'm like, what did I read before Twilight? A lot, actually.
All right, question number 2. We're not going to ask on this because it's just going to be trauma filled.
No, now I'm curious.
The question is, did someone read to you when you were a child?
I remember reading to my mom.
Cute.
So flipped it
as a way to learn, but it was because of ink. It was a little bit older, and because of like Inkheart and Inkspell.
You wanted
like that power of belief. Like what a
I love that.
Yeah, and we really like because my mom was always a big reader, so that's what I mean when I say that. Maybe she still is. I'm not sure, but what like books were always around because my mom is a big reader. So like it just came natural to me in terms of wanting to pick up a book.
Very cute, very cute. Who's your all-time favorite book character? Will Herondale.
Book character.
What did you say? Hands down.
Oh my god.
I've read so many more books in the last 3 years that that's actually a very difficult question to me.
All-time favorite.
If you asked me pre-COVID, honestly.
Would it be Edward Cullen?
No, actually. It wouldn't have been Edward. But it is someone from Twilight.
Who would it be in Twilight?
Honestly, I was a Jacob girl
Charlie.
for myself. But he's like, I like Jacob from the movies because I like Taylor Lautner.
Yeah, let's be honest. It's just Taylor Lautner.
Unfortunately, I'm a Bella sympathist.
Nope.
So I always loved Bella. But book Bella is very different from movie Bella.
Valid.
Favorite character of all time? That's so hard. There's different genres though.
That's valid. Yeah.
Like for me, it's easier to characterize them because like each one. I saw this thing the other day. This is slightly off topic, but not really. That I almost sent it to you, Katie. I don't know why I didn't, but I think you took a screenshot and I just didn't send it to you. It was like, what's one thing, that meme with Eugene from Tangled, and it has the swords pointing at him, and it's like, what opinion would you have? You have people going like this at you or whatever, and it's like someone said that in a fantasy novel that the main female character doesn't have to be, a long lost princess or heiress or someone
Yeah.
special. Like she could just be a regular woman sort of
Right.
situation. Why does she have to have that it factor? You know? And I almost sent it to you because again I wanted to know
Yeah.
y'all's thoughts because y'all are like primarily
It's
fantasy
true.
readers. So
I do love a good fantasy book.
yeah. Yeah. I don't have a favorite character of all time, unfortunately. It's there's a lot.
I feel that.
Like well this is like there's this so I haven't read the author in years because I got I don't want to say tired of her, but I just, read a lot of her
Yeah.
books for a long time, so I needed a break. And this break has been going on for
Mhm.
several years. And there's actually a production company, I don't remember what it's called, kind of like those not so great
Mhm.
budgeted ones. They're turning her books into a TV
Okay.
series right now. And so, like, I'm looking forward to
Mhm.
it, kind of, But one of my favorite characters that she has, it's the Black Dagger Brotherhood
Okay.
series. I don't know if y'all have ever read them.
No, but I think that's what that letter opener is
Huh.
that you found in my bookish stuff. So if you'd like a
Oh,
letter opener that is a
okay.
replica of a dagger,
Please. I'm being
Okay.
very serious. All that stuff that you still haven't, well,
Yeah,
we
I
haven't
have a
exchanged
large
yet,
pile
like
of
the
stuff for you,
I'll stick it
candles.
into a pile.
I have a large pile for you too. Like my thought process is eventually one of us is going to go to either to New
Right?
York or
Eventually.
California, and that's how it'll happen. That's that. Literally, I have a pile. So like, I love the characters. It's basically vampires. I don't call each
Mhm.
other vampires, but they're vampires, But the male characters in particular, and the females are as well. But this one character, his name is Zadist. It kind of sounds like
Mhm.
sadist, which is on purpose. But it's like, oh, that character is so good. But but another one, his name is he goes by B, but his name is Vicious,
Okay.
but it's
Love
spelled
it.
different sort of
Mhm.
situation. But those two characters, they each have their own book sort
Yeah.
of situation, as
Yeah,
romance
yeah, yeah.
novels do. That shit got me so good. And through the course of the series, obviously you delve deeper to them and why they are the
Mhm.
way they are. They're good. But I recommend those to you. I think Mary might like them
Especially you gave me
actually.
vampires, so
It's true.
I mean, like, again, they're not. They
yeah,
don't
yeah,
call
yeah,
each
yeah.
other
They're
vampires, but they're
very
basically
But
vampires.
like bloodsuckers.
They're
So.
vampires.
Right.
Yeah, they are. They are. So, I would say those two because it's because of that. Because I read the first book, which was randomly. It was like at a Walmart or whatever, and I was like, oh, I like this book. And then I happened to notice sometime later, a little bit later, I was like, oh, this is the same book from that series because you can tell by the design and the author and everything like that. But it was like the fourth or fifth book in the series. I can't remember, and I was like, well, damn. So I was like, well, I want to read it. So then it made me want to go back, and
Right.
it did, and it made me want to go forward. And yeah, so I look forward to going back, and I look forward to watching that TV
Mhm.
show. Hopefully it's good. I still follow the author on Facebook. I don't even go on Facebook to post anything, but a lot of my family members are
Yeah.
still on there, so I like to keep up with them sort of thing. So I'll follow her. I
Mhm.
still follow her and I see updates of what that author's doing and what
Oh,
projects and
fun.
everything. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to that. And yeah, Black Dagger Brotherhood series.
Alrighty, I want
Love
to do a
it.
Yeah.
quick pause. I want to stop this recording because we're doing my computer. I just want.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Question number 4. Who's your favorite author of all time? And
I
your
know
favorite book by
yours.
them? I know the answer. It's
Mhm.
Cassandra Clare, and my
Mhm.
current favorite book is Chain of
Okay.
Iron.
Favorite author of all time. Jeez.
I feel like if you don't say Stephanie Garber, it's not gonna protect your pile of books very well.
You can come through, Talia. You're fine. We're gonna have a special guest of Talia, my roommate, blurred in the background. Yeah, I mean, but she's not my favorite author. I also love her. Listen, there's another question that we're gonna ask, and you'll get the answer
Okay.
to that in a little bit. We'll probably honestly we'll answer it next. My favorite author of all time, honestly, Carissa Broadbent.
What author? I'm sorry.
I've thoroughly enjoyed Carissa
What has she
Broadbent.
wrote? What did she
5
rate?
stars every book I've read.
Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Serpent and the Wings of Night. That's a duology that is the Crimes of
No idea.
Nyaxia universe is a bigger series.
They're vampire books.
Yeah, vampires essentially. But she also wrote the trilogy, the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, which has beautiful representation, a badass character by Talia.
Oh wait, I think we talked about this before.
Pretty good love story.
It's starting
I
to
love
sound
that
more
series.
familiar. My favorite author, and it's not even so much that I still this is another one of those, I read her books for so long that I stopped reading them. And it's been that way for several years again. But she's my favorite author because of her, it expanded my world of reading. I'm getting to who it is in a second. I was, let's see, maybe 12 or 13, way too young to be reading Nora Roberts, but it's Nora Roberts. But let's be like my grandma, because again, what I said earlier, like reading has always been part of my life. You know, I've since I was a little kid, the first thing I would do was go to the book section. Toys, whatever to me, you know? Books, that was where I went. And my grandma, she was cleaning out her garage, and she didn't even look at what the books were, but she gave them to me, you know? She's like, here you go. And because of Nora Roberts, that delved me into, obviously, the romance genre. But it wasn't even, like, it was a book called Genuine Lies by Nora Roberts, where obviously there was romance, but it was more of a there's two books by her that I really like, by especially, like 12, 13, that really got me. It was Genuine Lies and Divine Evil by Nora Roberts. And again, romance was present, but it was like that sucker punch, whodunit, mystery, you got to figure out who it is, intrigue, that missed like suspicions. It was really good, and because of that, it dived me even deeper into other genres of books. And so because of that, she will always be that temple of thankfulness. And I think I've told y'all this before. I met her several years ago in San Antonio, Texas. I knew, like, I was going, again, because of Facebook, because I follow these authors, again, this was 10 years maybe 12 years past at this point, I was on Facebook, and this author that I follow, she's like, oh, I'm gonna be here. And I was like, double back. Wait, I live there. And exactly. I was like, wait, I live there. I live in San Antonio. And they had this thing where, veterans or their spouses or whatever can get into this convention for free. And my stepdad he was in the military at the time, and my mom didn't want to go, so I contacted the people who were in charge of this event. I was like, hi, my stepdad's in the military, can I go instead, sort of situation. They're like, yeah, let me check. Yes, you're all good. So, and this place was a romance author convention. So there were so many authors there, and I was like, so excited. And so I knew that I was going to this event for like a solid 2-3 weeks, right? The weekend before I went, I was at an anime convention, and so anime convention was like on a Saturday. I was going to the romance convention like on a Monday or something. It was like a day thing, sort of thing. And I happened to be looking at the list of authors who were going again because I wanted to make sure who was there. I don't know why I never caught that Nora Roberts was gonna be there, and I literally like almost, And so I got so many free books there at that convention, so many signed autographs that I still have to this day. Like, do you know who Holly Black? No, not Holly Black.
Holly Black is.
I'm a little familiar.
Someone else. I'll think of who it is at some other point. Someone else. It's a well-known person that I met before they were really, really big, but I can't think of the moment right now. And so it was like I only bought one thing there, and it was her book that was signed because I wanted a chance to like properly meet her. She sounded like a chain smoker. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. That's not the point. I just told her thank you, and I was a fan, and so she will always be because of that. And even if I haven't gone back in years, thankful. Sorry, guys. Here's my long-winded answers. It's good to talk to y'all.
No, this is fun. All right, Mary,
Yeah.
what's your question?
So my question is, what author do you own the most books for, and do you know the number?
It's Cassandra Clare, and I think it's 76.
Which makes sense. She's written 22 books. You could have 3 copies of each book, and that's not. I mean, it's still a lot, but like that's not an unrealistic number to have multiple copies of every single book.
Except don't ask me how many copies of Swordcatcher I have.
Sword Swallow.
8 or 9, actually.
Sword Swallow. Mm.
Oh, Sword Swallows. What,
Yeah.
what about you, Lucia?
I probably have the most for Nora Roberts. I also have a lot from Stephen King. I still also have a lot from Anne Rice. You know, your favorite book that you read last year for Halloween.
Yeah.
Listen,
It was a trip
The
and a
Interview
half.
with a Vampire. That didn't even say the title right. The Interview with a Vampire has followed me and haunted me forever because the TV series.
I
is
told
actually
you it
really,
was
really
good. It's good.
I haven't watched it, but I've
Uh-huh.
seen clips on TikTok, and I'm like, you know what? If this was my experience, it would probably.
You could
hit.
still you watch the
Still
TV
don't-
series.
Still don't like the fact that she's a child.
But in
it
this
is what
TV
it
show,
is.
it's different.
No. Yeah. I think I just really like the two
Which-
characters.
Well,
The
there's
two main
multiple.
guys. Lestat and
Yeah, Louis.
Louis?
Yeah, Louis.
Sure.
Yeah. I like the actors. They
Yeah.
play off really well. But as what Katie was alluding to, I own quite a few books by Stephanie
Quite a
Garber.
few. What's the
I don't
number?
have a number for mine.
As of
Oh.
today, over 50. Like at least 55. And mind you, this woman has written 7 books. I have 55 copies. A good half, if not a third of them, are signed. I have no business having this many copies of
You do
7
you.
published books. Her newest release is Spectacular, which either released like yesterday as of
Yeah,
recording
it
this,
wasn't too bad.
or a week ago, something like that. It's very recent release. I have 7 copies in my house right now. Only one of which is signed. Don't ask me why. I have an obsession, and it's fine.
Listen, you imagine how much
Alright.
more rich we would be if we weren't obsessed with things.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
then what was the fun in life?
Exactly.
Yeah, literally.
Like I
wish
look
was
at my
free. Books that
K-pop
give you
stuff.
life.
I look at all the books I have. I look at all my anime stuff. I am the type of person I'm like, damn, I'm glad I'm not obsessed with fucking drugs.
Truly.
Because it could be drugs, but
It
honestly,
could be
I'd probably
drugs.
be in less debt.
I
if it
would
was.
probably be dead. I would probably
That's
would have.
the sad part. But I'd be in less debt.
Yeah, because you'll be dead.
That's fine.
All right.
And it's not-
Next
thinking about that.
question. Has a book ever
Yeah.
changed your life? Yeah.
I wouldn't say fully my life. It has changed my opinion on things.
Twilight as a fandom changed the entire course of our lives, and you
I
have
agree
never changed my
completely.
mind on that.
No,
I
you're so
agree.
right.
100%.
Oh yeah, no.
Like
yeah. I still think about the fact the only reason I found Twilight to begin with is because it was when it came out, and my mom's coworker was like, "My daughter really likes this movie that just released. I think yours would too." And gave her the DVD, and I watched it twice in one night. So that was my
Listen,
obsession right there.
Twilight had such an effect on my life that I gave my sister an identity crisis at the age of 3.
That is such a fun fact to know. Poor Maya. Really thought she was Bella Swan.
That's funny.
It was really funny, and it only ended because she had screamed in the middle of a Walmart, "That's not my name," and we had to explain to her why that's not a thing we can say in public.
It's a good interesting way to think about this question. Obviously, in terms of life changing thought process, like you were saying, and then in a literal way about life.
Like if I didn't read this book, how different my life would have been because I
Yeah,
would be
so it's
obsessed with
a
it.
good way to think
Got
about
it.
it because both of those are in fact true. Um, I also
Mhm.
think about books. I've mentioned this one before on another, book talk or whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
it was like a books that make us cry sort of situation, and I think I love books that make me cry or whatever. Like I want to feel those feelings.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only way to read is to
Yeah.
like be so fully immersed that you feel the emotions that
Mhm.
they're supposed to be feeling. Or like you feel so affected by what's going on around them even if
Mhm.
they're not sad. Like something sad is happening and
Mhm.
you're like, "Oh my god." Because if I'm reading something that is supposed to evoke that raw of an
Yeah.
emotion and it's not hitting, that's either the author's fault or it's my
Um.
fault.
Right.
Somewhere either the author didn't write it to a point to make me feel affected. And maybe that's not like anything. Maybe it does just boil down to me. I'm not
The
not
amount of
reading it as
times that
fact.
you've cried,
An
but me
entirely
and Katie
difficult
didn't.
thing. Yeah, it's an
It
insanely
takes a
difficult
lot
It's
to
task.
not.
make
It's
you
not
It
cry.
hard
usually
to
takes
make
a
me
lot to make
cry.
me cry. I'm very emotional.
That's the thing. Going
Yeah.
back to what you were saying, Katie, about Twilight. It's not that I forgot, but I just thought about. I remember reading New Moon for the very first time, and how Bella was in her deep dark depression, and going through the months, and
Yeah.
people still say that's a great way
Uh-huh.
that Stephanie Meyer showed depression. Going through the months through those month
Mhm.
words on the pages, and I agree.
Yeah.
But anyways, I remember Bella was like screaming in the book, and I had a really bad stomach ache that I felt like I was feeling her pain, and I was like, I get it completely, Bella.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like
I too have been
Right.
left by my
no,
immortal
but like I felt
boyfriend.
like I was like Bella herself. Like was
Yeah.
imprinted, not like on a baby, but on those pages. But and like
I,
I remember I think I've said this one before too on another thing where I went to the shower one day and I really wanted to go to the store to get the last book in the series, and I couldn't get it because I was in high
Mhm.
school, and I didn't have a car sort of situation. And I
Right.
remember having the books right there, and I remember going in the shower, and I got back from my shower and I happened to look on the bookshelf, or it was for Eclipse, I'm sorry. Um maybe Maybe
Mhm.
not. I don't remember what book it was now at this point. I was a freshman in high school, freshman in high school. Whatever the point. The point is that my parents secretly got the book for me, and they put it on my shelf, and
Uh-huh.
I happened to notice, and they're like, "Okay, you can't read it until after dinner." And I read that book twice in one night. I stayed awake till the next morning, finished it, went back
I
up,
love
and then
that.
I was still awake when like the house started waking up again. And my stepbrother Joey was like, "You're still awake?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, what page are you on?" Blah blah. I was like, "I already finished it, and I'm reading it again." Sort of situation. Like that shit changed our lives.
Oh, you
Yeah,
should
it
have
really
lied and been
did.
like, just 200. Don't ask
Just
me how
to
many times I've gotten to
But
200 though.
like it was, and like I remember going, like I miss like it was more hectic, obviously, but midnight showings, that energy in the room. I remember like it was so
I wish
Yes.
I was
good.
old enough.
They're trying to bring back midnight book parties
That'd be
though, and
fun.
I'm here for it. They're doing them for
They're
Onyx
just
Storm.
expensive now.
They are.
Stop being so popular, authors. I want you to go back to being
It's
niche
because of
little
book talk
babies
too.
that
Even
only I know of.
yeah, that local one that I sent you, $60.
It's more expensive than I'd rather go to New York City.
I know. At least I get to look at her down
Yeah,
there.
and it's a signed book.
All right,
Mhm.
we ready for the next one?
Hmm.
What genres
Romance.
do you love?
Fantasy,
Romance.
What did you say?
romance,
I heard walnuts.
walnuts.
Fantasy, romance, historical fiction, and then whatever the hell you call the kinds of books that John Green writes, but also extends to like Perks of Being a Wallflower,
Like a
Tomorrow and
slice of
Tomorrow and
life.
Tomorrow,
Coming of age,
Midnight Library, those ones that are like
coming
really
of age heavy.
Yeah,
topics.
I like those too. Yeah.
Fuck me up with those.
I say
Yeah.
romance, but romance is such a broad and umbrella, romance and they're various.
Mhm.
Yeah, you gotta be a little more
Well, that's what I'm
specific.
saying.
That's fair. For me, it's
Like
contemporary.
I
and
love
historical,
contemporary. I love
so.
his.
And yet I make you read.
I've read
fantasy.
fantasy, obviously. I love what other ones do I like? I like me a good sci-fi. Good sci-fi is fun.
I do
Yeah.
like. I always like lump sci-fi and fantasy together in
Yeah.
my brain.
but they are very
Yeah.
different.
They are very different.
I
but
love a
do
good
love
western.
sci-fi.
Anytime I've read something
long
that
as
is,
there's-
specifically sci-fi,
I love a
I'm
good
like,
western with romance in
it's
it.
too much on the like sci-fi section.
I love a good doomsday sort of. I love it. Like the way I think of books is, would I watch it as a movie? I would also read it as a book, as long as it's done well.
Yes.
And there's a lot of movies
fair, that's
genres that
fair.
I love, so why not books too? Yeah.
Right. Very true.
I say as a broad category, fantasy through and through. I don't need heavy romance. Like it doesn't have to be like a romantasy where like it is mainly romance and that is the plot of the story. But if there's absolutely no romance in there and it is just a fantasy, which I read recently, not that it was a bad book, but like I was low key bored for a while. Like I struggled through it. I was like, there's nothing interesting, except it was very interesting. There were other relationships in it that made it interesting, but I wanted a romance, which is fine. But to be more specific, I actually really like gothic fantasy. So like dark academia type, like gothic fantasy
Teacher
romance,
student.
where
I'm
like
just
the
kidding.
world is super
No,
dark
I'm
and
just
rich.
kidding. I'm just
doesn't
kidding.
have to be student, but like dark, rich,
Mhm.
little bit of romance in there. Specifically thinking of One Dark Window
Okay.
by Rachel
That's
Gillick.
fair.
That is a fantastic duology, the Shepherd King duology.
Mhm.
It hits, and it's perfect for the spooky season.
Yeah.
I also really enjoyed Belladonna. I read that recently by Adeline Grace. That's a trilogy. I'm waiting for my library to give me, even though I have the book, literally I can see it sitting on my shelf, to give me Wisteria so I can finish it for the audiobook, because the
Oh.
audiobooks hit. I got into audiobooks a lot more this year, and y'all should try them. They hit.
I'm a high
Nice.
fantasy girly.
Oh
me
yeah,
that
I
world
love
building.
Will.
Yes, but don't give me too much world building.
Give me a 900-page book. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, but don't give me so much info dumping in the first 20% that
And you lose
I don't know
interest.
what's going on.
Just make sure I can pronounce the names. And I
Listen,
don't
I'm just
forget
gonna make up my
easily.
own names at that point. We all know this.
That's valid. Listen, all I know is that Game of Thrones always failed me as a person.
Oh,
And it's just because he just kept throwing names out and I couldn't remember who the hell it was and he never told me and they all look and sound the same and it's a lot of characters.
yeah.
Are there any genres you dislike?
What I don't
Right.
need.
Thriller, horror.
I love me a thriller.
Thriller, horror.
I love me a
do wanna
thriller.
try a thriller.
Mm-mm.
I've learned that gothic fantasy is technically horror, and I
I
disagree.
think it depends on the author.
That's valid. All I can say is like
Yeah.
my anxiety level is high enough, and Bridge Kingdom literally gave me a fucking panic attack. So I
Bridge
can't,
Kingdom
I can't
gave
do
you
it. It's too much. It really did.
Like
There
Under the
got to be a
Water?
part where like no, when the letter got
Oh,
sent
yeah,
to
yeah.
her dad, but nobody
Yeah.
knew the letter was sent, and for like chapters.
Yeah.
I mean chapters afterwards, you're like waiting
Yeah.
for the other foot to fall. I had to put the book down because I was just like,
And that wasn't even like thrillers or like
No, it
really,
wasn't.
true suspense. It just that part of the story was suspenseful because you as the reader knew that it happened and you're like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?
uh,
Whereas in the book, no, everyone was oblivious.
they were just
Um,
living life.
But yeah, I cannot read horror, especially if it's a very graphic or like very scary,
Mm.
because I don't even really like. I hate horror movies. I can't do it. I can do jump scares, and I can
Is it
do
because you
some
get
gore,
scared?
But something that is
Mm.
meant, yes, something that is meant to make you sit in such
Mm.
discomfort and
I
anxiety.
think, like,
can't
for
do it.
me, I just watched, and after we're done, I need to edit it, actually. I watched, Evil Dead Rise. Have y'all heard of that movie?
I think I've heard of it.
Like,
but
it
I
came out
haven't
last year,
watched
and
it.
it's like a possessions sort of movie. And I had
Mhm.
heard it. My issue with horror movies, and I don't scare easily. I have such a blockage of belief and disbelief because I know it's not real, but I want to get scared and figure out what's happening, which is why I watch them. And I think the
Yeah.
clinical part of my brain is like doesn't shed that disbelief, which is why again I don't get scared. I'll get jump scared, but I think that's more of a on purpose sort of thing, like a ha ha sort of thing. But like a
Yeah.
true fear, I haven't felt
Yeah.
that in a long time, and I want to feel it. So I like to watch them or read them,
See,
or when I do, because I want to figure out what's happening.
Right.
I've watched very few horror
Mhm.
movies in my life. One of
Mhm.
which was Annabelle, which
It's an awful
arguably
pick.
isn't that scary. But I have a like massive fear of porcelain
Yeah,
dolls specifically.
Mm.
And even though the doll itself was portrayed as
A-
creepy, like it should
that's
have
a
been
that's a
a
ding
nicer
dead
looking
ringer
doll
for
to
a
begin
creepy
with,
doll.
and it wasn't. Um,
Yeah.
that was like the worst thing. Like I've had a sleepover before at someone's house, and I was like, "You have to remove those. They can't be in this room because
Yeah.
when you turn the light off, it's gonna be
I mean, I
looking at
guess
me,
that's
and I don't
similar
want it."
to the reason why I won't watch the movie Willard, because I know there's a whole bunch of fucking rats in it. Yeah,
That's fair
We
enough.
don't
and
want rats.
I gotta be honest, your child betrayed me.
Listen, he's being a cute Disney rat. He's-
What?
Julian's dressing
He
up as
betrayed me.
Ratatouille.
Oh,
He
that's so
betrayed
cute.
you.
I thought he was gonna do Cars.
No, not this year.
Hmm.
Maybe next year. He's not even really gonna look like a mouse anyways. We bought him like a gray, like fleece bear sweatshirt because he's anti anything on his head. So I'm just hoping that he'll wear the hood with
Mhm.
the little bear ears. It's fine.
For like a
Like,
picture.
I haven't
Yeah.
even watched that
Yeah.
movie. I refuse to.
Alright. That's valid. I
Cute little frog
understand.
would be nice.
The cute little. Maybe next year we'll be
Oh,
cousin
that'd be
frog,
cute,
frog and
actually.
toad.
That'd be cute.
Would
Okay,
be
next
cute.
question.
Yeah. What author who is still living would you dearly love to meet?
To be fair, I've met most of them, but
Fair.
Stephanie Meyer is like
Hmm.
Yeah,
because
that'd
of
be.
Twilight being
You
so
think you
such
would
a huge
spaz
part of my
out?
life. Because I've
You
met
think you would
Veronica
spaz
Roth.
out?
No, I didn't spaz out about the other ones, and I feel like I
Mm,
love them even more.
Mm.
But I've met Veronica Roth, which was the
yeah.
Divergent series. I met Carissa Broadbent, Danielle L. Jensen, Raven Kennedy, um, Rebecca Yarros multiple
Yeah.
times. Jennifer L. Trout, I did kind of have like a moment when I was away from her, but I saw her and I was like, I'm gonna freak out, and then I was fine. But I've met most of the like big ones.
Yeah.
Really, truly, the only one in my time right
Hmm.
now would be Stephanie Meyer.
For me, it's John Green. I would love to
Um,
meet him.
Is that because you've met Cassie Clare like 7 times?
Yeah.
I don't have one actually. It's interesting to me. Writers, authors, they have such a. Besides, because again, I've met a lot of them way past, and Julia Roberts was for a reason, because opened the door, such. But a lot of
Mhm.
times for me, authors are like at an arm's length. Like, I don't know them
Yeah.
personally. I know their words, and I'm so
Mhm.
grateful for their words for either whatever reason, but I don't know them personally, so I can't like connect to them on a personal
Mhm.
level unless I just happen to follow
Yeah.
them on like Instagram or this or that, and I get to know them more. Sort of situation. But like there's
Right.
other people, like remember when we were at New York City Comic Con and we were walking, Katie, and I happened to see this voice actor who I'd been a fan of for years. That's someone whose work I had been following,
Yeah.
not only as like his work, but like on a personal level. So that was like
Mhm.
unexpected, and I didn't know I was gonna meet him. Then that's a totally
Right.
sort of situation. Or like meeting Matt Hardy from the Hardy Boys, again turning that corner at New York
Mhm.
City Comic Con. Been a fan since I was a child. I grew up and saw him. See him, his wife making TikToks in their family till this day. So to me, it's different. There's not an author that I'm like, oh my god, I'm dying to meet. I need to know everything, or just. I mean, if I had a conversation with him, I think that'd be
Yeah.
fantastic. But it's not anyone like, oh man, you know. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This question we've been answering offhandedly. It's have you ever met an author face to face? And the
Yes.
list is long
Yeah.
at this point.
We went to a Polycon. I dragged her this past year, and met quite a few authors. And then we also
Right.
went on many bookish adventures. Like we met Holly Black.
So maybe what are your
well
favorite
as another
authors
one.
you've met face to face?
Every single one that I named literally a minute ago, because they're the ones that I cared about the most. Though I've met a fair few of other ones that
That's
I haven't
fair.
mentioned that I also really enjoyed their books. And they're kind of big, depending on the genre that you read. Like I've met
Mhm.
some dark romance authors that I really enjoyed their books.
Right. Obviously, Cassie's like my favorite, and I have to see her many, many more times to get all the books signed and be her best friend.
And I will sacrifice many
but
signatures.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Ransom Riggs, which you, Lucia, you went and met him with me. You and Vanessa did, and it's because he was the second author I ever went to go see. Like Cassie was the first, and then he was the second. And his books are just. They're very juvenile, but they're like special place in my heart.
So,
was the first one we went to for New York City Comic Con? That was the first time I met authors, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, because that last year was like the kickstart of meeting people, and that was where I met Veronica Roth. We met V.E. Schwab. Now that I've read her book, I was like, yeah,
it was a good
love
book.
This
The Secret Life of.
So I'm actually mad now that I didn't get a photo with her though.
This is such a
I
weird
have
question.
I was like, no, I don't need a photo. I need your book.
This year I went with Hero Katie to 2 poetry book signings. One of them was in LA. We got to meet, and this is Hero's favorite author, poet author, Courtney Peppernell. Yeah, she wrote the Pillow Thoughts books. And then we also met I'm gonna mispronounce her name. I do apologize. We met Rupi Kaur. She wrote the Milk and Honey books. If you saw the covers, you definitely would recognize them. Sort of situation. And when we met Courtney, that was back in LA, back in May or April, something like that. She was so nice. She was super nice. We just had a great conversation about. Funny enough about Taylor Swift, and in terms like she herself isn't like a huge fan, her partner is, but in terms of like connecting music and lyrics and poetry and where you have to be as a person as a whole, and we just had a great conversation in general. So she was super super nice, and so like as a recent one, she was super nice to meet, and like I said, we met Rupi. What was it, a week or 2 ago at this point, and she was she was nice. It was a very faster sort of an engagement because I feel like the establishment wasn't built to have such a sort of situation, but she was still nice though.
I have like a love-hate relationship with author events in general, especially really big authors, because it does always feel so sign your book, 30 seconds, get out. There isn't always a lot of time to actually like. I think my favorite event we have been to is that lover panel that we went to for Holly Black, because there were so few people there that we actually like. I'm not sure why, but like we had like a 10-minute conversation with Holly Black about the state of Oak's goat legs.
Well, what I think it was is not that there were a small amount of people there; it's that there were so
like other
many
panels
authors for the amount of people that were there,
and
so that there were 5 authors to get through, and she was the last one.
And she also was like the slightly odd man out because like everyone else was like a strict romance writer, and she's like a fantasy.
She's a Fade to Black.
So, like,
yeah, I get it.
With like very subplot, romance.
So,
and since she was the last one, and we were like the first ones to go through, we were like, hey,
but like
let's have a quick chat with you while people catch
like,
up.
And like I know it's not always realistic. Like I know it's just not. But like I always like sometimes it's like it feels very anticlimactic because you do get a book high, take a picture.
You spend all this money, you spend.
I felt that with
and all this other stuff just to have literally a 30-second interaction, but they're doing it with.
I felt that with last year with when we were at New York City Comic Con. That has nothing to do with Laura Bailey, the voice actress, actress of Laura Bailey. It's just the process of, you know, going there, taking your photo, in and out sort of situation. I'm still really happy that I got to meet her.
Yeah.
But if I ever go back to a convention where she's out, I'm definitely gonna do like an autograph one instead of like a picture one.
Right. So you get like
that's my plan.
Time,
yeah. I think it would be really fun, which I know why they do it so quickly.
Of course,
so
of
they can
course.
get through as many people as possible, and
of course,
the price is lower.
Yeah.
But like, if there was ever a way to just have a smaller amount of people, which means the
and high
faster, to spend slightly more. Yeah, I would spend more money to spend a little bit more time with my
Claire person. Coffee.
That's how you and Holly Black became besties. Let's make this connection happen.
I'm not gonna pitch you my book.
You can be besties with Cassie. I want to be besties with
I will record it for content.
Yeah, that we gotta get a person right here. And if you don't want it signed, honestly, I'll sign an NDA and we can have a real in-depth chat about what the future
My
of these
question will
series is
be,
gonna be.
bought
Like,
the Fade to
Holly,
Black.
I'm looking at you
Fade
for
to
the
Black.
Carden book.
What's with that?
That's fair. Valid.
I'll help you write it. Let's go, Holly Black. I'll be your ghostwriter.
All right, question number 10 is the weirdest
Okay.
question I have ever seen. Do you prefer paperbacks
Oh.
or ebooks? The answer is hardcovers. The answer is
Okay, for trophy shelf, hardcover.
No, hardcover across the board.
Yeah, I used to be that way, but now I'm like strictly ebook reader. Because if I am going to read a physical book, I think I'd rather read a paper book because I don't care about them as much. So if it gets damaged, I'm not going to care as much. But books are also meant to be read, so like I
Hardback.
shouldn't be. I used to. My Twilight books are beat the fuck up because I read them so much. But now that I'm like in my everything must be cutesy era, I don't want a damaged
I used
book
to
ever.
wear a lot of cargos, like you just shorts, pants in general. You know, cargo.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
you fully criminally
I
would fold
wouldn't
the book
fold it.
into
I
the
would
pocket.
purposely get like the smaller paperback books, and
The
they would fit
small
into the
mess-
cargo
Yeah,
pocket.
the mess
So they'd
market
fit.
paperback.
Yeah.
That is so funny. I say that because she did that when she visited us that one time.
Listen, you got
Yep.
room, put it in there.
Listen,
Pre New
I
York
just
City.
I like both, but I also am very much don't have my own plate. Like I have my own house, obviously, but it's not like my own house. You know, there's only so much room,
it's
so
not
much room I
yours.
can expand to.
Yeah.
Even if this whole apartment that we're in was mine, I still don't think I'd have enough space for what I want to do
Same,
with it.
same.
Mood.
But I don't mind either way. I don't do a lot of The real question is how often do you listen to books? Because that wouldn't be very often for me.
I cannot listen to books. I forget that I'm
My
listening to
brain
something and
goes.
Yeah, I just
I've read
gone.
around 75 books this year.
Yeah.
65 of them have been audiobooks.
Although I will say, I recently, when I was super into the Middle Mist trilogy, I was reading that on my Kindle, and I like
have the robot talk to voice.
I did, because I was going back and forth to rehearsals like an hour away for a show, and I didn't want to stop reading, and like that was okay, but I was engrossed, like did not want to put that book down. So like I think maybe soon, like I think I'm getting there, but I really have to be into it to like want to actually listen.
I listen to podcasts a lot too when I'm or music when I'm like on my scooter on the way to work or home, and I feel like I would get really distracted if I wasn't listening to a book. You know, my scooter would find some more rocks and have another crash.
Yeah.
I started doing audiobooks because similarly I had a 40-minute commute to and from work for 4 months last year. So I like wanted to get to my reading goal, and then I surpassed it because I was reading like really short audiobooks. But then it just became the only way that I could read, because I am also so busy now because I got a promotion in my job and whatnot, and I constantly have to do things around my house. So I need to be hands-free and moving a little bit. So I just plug in my headphones and listen to an audiobook. And if I find myself distracted or not listening, I'll turn it off and turn on music at that point. Like I can't be sitting.
I like to listen to music while I read.
I can't do that. That will distract me.
It depends on what I'm reading.
Yeah. Sometimes if I need to lock in, then I'll turn it off. But
I was listening to an audiobook that had like at the beginning of each chapter had music because the character was
that's cool.
Yeah.
Or at least I think it was that. And it was, but because I listened to it 2 times speed, already it's distracting.
Yeah.
It's even more distracting with it just
I love the cello. It's so
faster
pretty
than it should be.
Right.
Yeah.
It is very pretty. So there's just like slight sound effects every now and then. Like sometimes it would do like a wind sound effect, and I'm like, I don't want this here. I'm good actually.
All right, next question. Have you ever read a self-published book?
Yeah.
Several at this point.
Yes.
That's
most of them.
That's one of the nice thing about like getting into like the Bookstagram and book talk spaces is that not only do those authors have an easier, maybe not easier, but a more easier in a sense, like way to spread that knowledge to other people.
It's all word of mouth. And they rely on book influencers.
It's true. You're like, they no longer have to like try and get their book into a traditional bookstore to get people to read it. They can share it that way. So like in those spaces, I've found a lot of
And
books that way.
in that sense, have pushed a lot of authors to then become traditionally
Yeah.
published, even if it's just through print. Like just the printed books become traditionally published,
Yeah.
and they can do so much more
Mhm.
because they now have a company that is going to push the advertising, and they don't have to do all of the work themselves. They have a little bit less on their plate, but they're still obviously doing stuff to
Sometimes
make
it's
money out of
wild
that.
to me. This is slightly on topic. Like when I'll read a book that I found for free on Kindle Unlimited, and then Book Talk and such makes it
Mhm.
go viral, and then it's no longer on Kindle
Mhm.
Unlimited for free, and then you have to pay for it, and then you go to a store and it's
Yeah.
printed out, and like I'm like, damn, that was free. But then I'm like, you know what, go the
Right.
fuck for you. Hell yeah. Especially
Yeah.
if the
Yeah, it's
author
fun.
you happen to see them, trying to do their shit and spread their love and
Mhm.
their joy and their art to the world,
Yeah.
and you connect to that struggle bus. So you're like, good for them. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which on
Cool.
that topic, if you are a big ebook reader and you utilize Kindle Unlimited, I suggest reading their these books from these authors through Kindle Unlimited first, and if you decide that you love it, then buy the ebook, or then also the paperback or hardcover, whatever else is available, because then they get paid like essentially twice. Like Kindle
Mhm.
Unlimited
No,
already
it
doesn't
doesn't.
pay a lot, but it is a way to be more accessible and to help readers find these authors where they otherwise wouldn't have. Because who wants to pay $8 to $10 for an ebook when you could just do that for the paperback, and then it probably sits on your shelf forever and you don't know if you're going to read it. But if it's free with the subscription, then yeah, I'm more likely to read it. I can download 20 of them at a time and just switch back and forth. But they get a little bit of money through that, and then if you buy the ebook, they get the commission from that, and if you buy the paperback or hardcover, they get the commission from that. And that's just a way to like fully surround and help out the authors that
Heck yeah.
utilize Kindle Unlimited.
What book or series do you hope and pray will be turned into a movie or a TV show? Infernal
Hope
Devices.
and pray. Yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely. Honestly, anything that Cassandra Clare has written that I have read.
Except
because
I don't want it to get the treatment
I was
that
gonna say
fucking
they
Lord of
made
the
a TV
Rings did.
show.
Get out of here with that.
They had with
It
the
sucked.
movie and the TV show, there was so much potential there.
The movie was really great until the last 30 minutes. They ruined it right at the end.
Yeah, that was a weird choice. Having read the books and then I forced her to watch the movie with me, I was like, yeah, no, this is weird. But I watched the TV show first, so all of my like screen picture for the characters are from the TV show. I think I just really like
I like
Matthew
the movie
Daddario and
cast more.
whatnot, but
I
What's
am
your pick,
looking for
Lucia?
the book title because I know I can't remember it right now, so I'm looking for the book title. Okay, so we did this book, Katie and I, and Mary decided to not finish it. Hey,
there's two of them.
so the one I'm
so
going to
which
talk
one?
about, and I remember when we did the book review, I literally said I kept imagining it turning into a TV show. Well, there's several actually, but this one I think would be really fun. Is Damned by Chuck Palahniuk
That one.
or whatever
Oh
how
yeah.
you say his name, because it's like the Fight Club author. It's literally a child who mistakenly gets sent to hell, and she grabs a whole bunch of people, and on their way to see what's up. And she learns some things and sets things right. And there's monsters, and it's a journey, and it's self discovery, and also like a whoopsie at the end. Like that would be a fun fucking TV show.
It would, and it was such like a
Yeah.
visual book too. So like bringing that to life.
Oh,
I think
obviously,
that
we
was really
also
fun.
talked about when we read it was the you mentioned it earlier with the tension and anxiety. In Bridge Kingdom.
Bridge
We like
Kingdom.
that would also be a fun one.
Mhm.
That would be insane.
So that would
really
be fun.
Carissa Broadbent's either of those series, The Crimes of Nyaxia, or which I think would no, both of them pretty equally. I would want to see, or the War of Lost Hearts series. Either one of them, I think, would hit.
You know, a lot of the books that
really
I've
well.
read, not a lot, but some books that I've read have already turned into TV shows, like
Yeah, or are
or
slated
movies.
to.
You know,
Yeah.
like they're already doing this sort of situation. Like
I mean, Twilight and Divergent are the reason I read the books, is because
There you
they were
go.
movies.
Yeah, so there you go.
What attracts
The
you to a
cover, the
book?
author.
Cover,
Yep.
I do judge books by covers. Author sometimes.
Yeah.
Titles
Yep.
will grab me
Mhm.
quite a bit. And other people telling me
You
they're good
two
book.
telling me to read
Yeah,
it for here.
I yeah, I absolutely will judge you
Yep.
by the cover.
Yep.
I will judge a book by its cover. If you give me the regular like person cover, I probably don't want it. I don't
So
want
you
people
like
on
the
my covers,
drawing
whether it's a
covers or
smutty
what?
book or not. I like some
I
drawn
do
covers.
like the current like
I
cartoon
kind of get
trend
tired of
for
that
contemporary
trend
romance.
No.
because they're all the same.
I don't
really
like it,
like it.
but I do prefer it to like a half naked
Listen,
man
I have a
on the
lot of
cover
books
See,
with a
for
hat
no
making
reason.
man.
It is all the same, but so is all the romance that I read. I
Yeah.
like want it to be the same. You know what I mean?
I usually will go towards a discrete cover before anything else. So if there is a second cover for that book,
I
you
have
better
a.
show me that one first. Especially if
Do you
it's
have you
for
heard of the
fantasy.
author J.C. Burton? She does. She
No.
does a lot of romance. But like sports romance. Well, yeah, you read your first sports romance this year. But obviously these are like older
Yeah.
books, you know, not that old, but 10+ years old sort of situation. So before the trend is what I'm saying. And she has a lot of book covers with hot men.
Speaking of said sports romance that I read for the first time,
Nice.
I have a
So you
signed
met
copy
her?
of it. No.
No, she got it at the Strand.
Yeah, she like apparently doesn't do signings, but she'll put out
She's an
Oh.
anonymous author. Is
Kind
what
of,
we
yeah.
learned.
But
Like nobody
she-
knows
Oh,
what she
wild.
actually looks like.
yeah, but she does what are they called?
Book plates?
Book plates. Yeah, thanks. She did those and they were in the books, so I bought one. There were only 3 in the store and I was like, I guess if everyone else is buying it, I'll buy it.
Okay. Yeah. It was an unexpected nice
Yeah.
read.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I still have Wildfire on my TBR list that's been on there since June.
I
and
saw
do
it.
want to read
I
it.
was at the
And I'm
bookstore.
again waiting for my library to give it
And
to
I
me.
almost, well, I didn't buy it because I was broke, but I was like, hey, we were talking about that one. And then I went about my day.
I bought it at
There you
Walmart
go.
for $11.
Love that.
And I only want to read it specifically so that I can get to Daydream, which released this summer, because Henry, who I fell in love with as a side character in Icebreaker, is apparently
Nice.
a freak. And
Nice.
I'm like, all right,
I'll have to
That
read the other one then.
sweet boy turned kink,
Yeah.
kinky boy. All right.
Next question.
All right. Have you read any of the old classics?
No.
I've read Little Women, which I think I gifted it to both my cousin and my little sister. I think it's a very important
Mhm.
book for young women, especially young
Yeah.
women with sisters to read.
I've seen
I
the
think
movie.
It says a lot. Even like in its time period, I still think it's quite relevant
Mhm.
for young girls nowadays. I read The Great Gatsby. I don't get the
Oh
hype.
yeah, I read The Great Gatsby in school.
I've
Don't
never read The Great
understand
Gatsby.
it. I don't
couldn't
know
tell you
why
the
it was
plot of
so
the story.
important.
I'm
I haven't,
gonna
so-
look up classic novels because I want to know which ones look
That's
classify
fair.
as.
I mean, I've
Yeah, I've read Shakespeare. Yeah,
Does that
Mhm.
count?
I don't think that's a
I'm a
classic
theater
novel.
nerd.
That's
Shakespeare's
just
definitely classic
Shakespeare.
because it's older than all these.
I guess it's fair.
So Lilith
Yeah.
says To Kill a Mockingbird. Yes. The Great Gatsby.
No.
I had to read that.
The Great Gatsby. I've never read. Wuthering Heights. Yes. Jane Eyre. Yes. Little Women. The Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, I did read that.
I might have had to for school, but I
Great
don't remember.
It's a school book.
Expectations by Charles Dickens. The Count of Monte Cristo, which I've never read, but I love the movie. Anna Karenina, which is a great movie. I've always wanted to read it. It's by Leo Tolstoy. The Grapes of Wrath. Let's see, other ones there's other ones in this list. But Crime and Punishment is a great book. I've read it.
Mhm.
Ulysses, I've read it. Dracula, I've read it. Lord of the Flies, read it.
Yeah.
Invisible
I read
Man,
that
The
one.
Odyssey and the
Persuasion,
Iliad, I've read
Emma. Let's see,
Yeah.
Les Mis. War and Peace.
That's a
The
good book.
Outsiders, I've read that one. So North and South, I've
It's a
read.
musical.
The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, read it. Sense and
Yeah.
Sensibility, read it. Scarlet Letter, read it.
I've read. Is Of Mice and Men
Yeah.
considered a classic?
One Flew Over the
read that.
Cuckoo's
Oh,
Nest,
yeah.
read it.
That was
I've read quite a bit of these. Beloved, read it.
Yeah.
The Age of Innocence. I think that's also a movie. Read it. Yeah. So I've read quite a bit of them. Then yes, yes. What?
I have a question for you guys.
Hmm.
Oh well, if you're not done with
I
this
have a book
conversation,
face
we
that's
can.
shaped of a book of Pride and
Oh,
Prejudice
cute.
because I love
That is
Pride and
cute. I
Prejudice.
love
that.
that.
And the day I actually make my Lego flowers, which are still in its box, they're going in here.
Mine too.
Okay, go ahead.
Ready? Thoughts on DNFing a book, which means do not finish.
I'm not a quitter. It might take me 3 years to read a damn book, but I'm gonna finish it.
I usually don't like DNFing. I will try and power through it, especially I'll like give myself a month. But if I put it down for more than a month, it's considered a DNF because I'm at that point I'd have to restart it to know what's happening. So
See, it's so often that like in the last 100 pages, that's where a book like grabs me.
Last 100.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
I know.
Yeah.
How
I
many
don't know
pages
that
are in
it's
this
bad or
book?
not, but like
if I'm not, depends.
usually like somewhere between 3 and 6.
And the last 100 only got
like
me.
there's been
That's a bad book then.
there sometimes that's but
Yeah.
it like it's so worth it in the end.
There are so many books that are like kind of okay in the first bit, and then they have
But
like a 180 at the end, and you're like, actually, this is a great book. If
I
you
also
just
though,
get
like
to the end,
I don't have to like go back and reread. Like I can
So
pick
can
up
I.
pretty easily
Yeah.
and remember what was going
I
on.
have to.
So like yeah, it's probably like I've been reading Shadow and Crowns for what
I don't even know
2
what book that
years
is.
now.
SM Gaither, I'm sorry.
dragging my feet because I don't want it to end, not because it's
No,
bad.
yeah.
But
I mean, I dragged my feet through one of the books because I was bored.
one of the books
but-
did have middle syndrome. I will give it that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But I was also, it was also a subject of the time where I was actively trying to write a book, and so much of it was very similar to what I wanted to write. And I was like, this is plagiarism.
I used to be very anti do not, if do not drop it. You gotta stick with it.
Mhm.
And then I got Kindle Unlimited, and I'm like, fuck this book. I'm grabbing another one.
Yeah, no,
That's
literally,
valid.
especially with that, like,
I feel like I should have given up on Game of Thrones, but I didn't.
I'm
I
proud
saw
of
it
you.
To the end.
Here-
I saw it to the
here's
end.
my fun fact. The first book I remember not finishing is The Notebook. I got halfway through it,
Mm.
and it is something that I have seen the second half of the movie and read the first half of the book, so I
Mhm.
have an idea of what's going on. I
Mhm.
did go to the musical on
Mhm.
Broadway this year, so I've finally seen from start to finish
Yeah.
the entire story. That is a beautiful
Yeah, it is.
fucking
Well, I
musical,
don't know.
and
Mm.
everyone
I've never
should
seen the musical.
experience
I've
it.
read the book
I've
and
heard
I've
that.
seen the movie. There you go.
I've seen the movie.
I went with my cousin who had had never
What?
read the book, never
Wow.
watched the movie. She didn't
Yeah.
know what was going to happen at the end. And she turns to me and was like, I know what's going to happen, and is sobbing. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Little
so
did she know,
sorry.
she fucked up. No, it's a
Love
beautiful
it.
story. I think the older version of her, the actress, died this year. I think. I'm pretty sure she did.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh, like the movie one?
Mhm.
Okay. I was like,
Well, yeah.
who?
All right. Are there any books that are really popular but
Yeah.
you dislike?
Yes.
The answer is Serpent and the Wings of Night. I've been reading it since April, and listen, it's here's how I would describe this book to somebody. This is hurting Mary's soul. It's like Hunger Games and Twilight had a baby and let Anne
Oh.
Rice raise it.
You disrespected me with that one. I was with you. It's literally marketed as
But I
both of those two as a baby.
Don't think it's a bad thing. But
It's okay.
I'm struggling with it.
It's okay. The early reviews for book 3 in the series,
I've heard a lot
that's
of
like the
people
full
don't
book.
like it.
who like love Carissa, are like, this was awful. And I was like, ooh.
You can't tell me there's not some weird daddy shit going on.
I
in
can't
that
think of
book.
any right now, but I'm sure something from Book Talk.
Very not
Nyaxia,
sorry.
have you finished it yet?
No.
You're gonna learn the weird daddy shit, all right?
What
She
book?
had daddy
What number are we
issues.
on right now?
I'm kind of skipping some that don't pertain, so
Yeah.
I figured we'd go
And
till
we've
we
also
were tired.
Yeah, we've been
No, I
doing
just
this
gotta
for more
really
than
use the
an
restroom.
hour.
That's why I'm asking. We can do a couple of more.
Oh, you
No,
can
we can
go
do
to
a
the
couple
bathroom
more.
if you want. Yeah, sure. Wait, what's the popular book you dislike?
Oh. Hold on. It's not necessarily a book because I haven't read it, but it's the
Okay.
author for this book, which is Divine Rivals.
Oh.
I haven't read Divine Rivals, but I read another book by
Didn't
Rebecca
you
Ross,
read
and
that book?
I greatly disliked it.
Yeah.
I've read Divine Rivals. It was very
Yeah.
cute. I agree. I don't think Mary would like it though.
So like Divine Rivals is the popular book, and I didn't have a great time with the other book from what she had written. And again, it's probably not something that I would really like, so I'm just not going to read it.
Yeah. I'm
Lucia?
sure something on Book Talk. I just can't think right now.
Valid.
Did you like Fourth
I liked
Wing?
Fourth Wing more than the second one.
That's what a lot
fair.
of people have said, actually. And then there's other people who are like, both books were bad, and I'm like, that's fine. I never.
I thought
said
they were
good.
fun. I
just
thought
said
it was fun.
liked them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a good time.
Are there any books that are considered terrible but are your secret pleasure? The Mortal Instruments.
Fourth, the Mortal Instruments, Twilight. Obviously, I can recognize all of the flaws with it. I could actually give you a PowerPoint presentation of what the fuck's wrong
Let me
with
tell
it.
you all the reasons it's wrong, and it starts with Jacob and Renesmee.
No, starts with. We can do so many things before that. So many things before that. Daughter raises mom.
I don't. I guess would this be considered a guilty pleasure then? Like a guilty pleasure book? Would
What?
that be considered?
I mean, maybe, but like Twilight
Yeah.
is just iconic. Like everyone knows it's
True.
so bad it's good. And I think if it wasn't written by a Mormon, which is who Stephanie
Yeah.
Meyer is, or at least was when she was writing it, even if there was just a little bit more sex in this book, it would have been worth it, because you're telling me an 108-year-old vampire who was turned at the age of 17.
He never dived
We all
into
know
that book. I'm just
17-year-old
kidding.
boys never had sex.
He was sick
Or at
though.
least didn't when he was a vampire. That's a lie.
He was dying of the Spanish
Yeah,
influenza.
but like he wasn't sick that
Maybe.
entire time. And then when Rob Pattinson got COVID, I was like, damn, he's really trying to get him.
He's a dad now. Yeah.
That is wild.
All right, you want to do a couple rapid fire questions? And
Okay.
then we'll wrap it up. Fast answers. What's the best book you've read over the past year? Top
Secret
of my
Life of Addie
list
LaRue.
is,
That one.
Invisible Life of Annie LaRue. That was also going to be what I would say.
A Door in the Dark and a Whisper in the Walls.
Ooh, I have too many in my brain. Belladonna was one of them. Honestly, I really loved Belladonna, and that was a recent one. There was something else in the beginning of the year that I read.
Which fictional character do you feel the deepest connection?
That's
with?
not a
Go.
rapid fire.
Deepest
You
connection.
just don't have the. All right, we'll skip it. What are you reading
Nothing,
right
because
now?
I haven't started Mary's Pick.
That's fair.
Lady Macbeth, yeah.
Lady Macbeth and Queen of the Dawn and Gold. I'm gonna finish all of those at some point.
I think I downloaded another book that I was supposed to start and I just haven't yet. Oh, The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. I need to read that.
How do you?
I
make
don't
time
do
for
anything
reading?
else.
I don't fold my laundry.
Yeah,
I don't.
I slack on editing and recording.
10 minutes.
I literally just put everything else down. Are you a rereader? I used to be, but now
I'm
there's
too
too many
busy
books
to be now.
Yeah.
The only book I ever had reread was the Twilight series, and then there were a few that I've reread in the last couple of years just because I've like needed to freshen up for this new series or the rest of the series, but like not usually a rereader.
Are you a one book at a time reader, or do you like reading multiple books? The answer is 3 to 4 at any given time.
I used to be a one book at a time, and then I became an ARC reader, advanced reader copy kind of reader, and I had to start reading multiple books at the same time, or otherwise I wouldn't have joy in my life.
Multi. Favorite bookstore?
A free one.
The Strand.
Yeah, I think it's the Strand. The little free libraries, those are cute.
Yeah, the Strand in New York City.
Would you rather read one long book or 3 shorter books?
One long, if it's fantasy and good.
Mm-hmm. Either or.
Either or. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
feel like short books just go.
Okay,
too
ladies,
quickly,
we gotta
but
hurry
you
up. I
need
gotta
a
release the
faster-paced
restroom.
book.
I think
No,
we're
I'm so
good.
sorry.
We're good.
I
That's
think
all
this was
got.
really fun, so we
Yeah.
can look
You're
at another
fine.
list that you send us a link to for another
Yeah.
episode of Get to Know Us questions. I'm really glad I got to see you
And you
guys.
can also leave questions in the comments.
Yeah, leave us
Yeah.
Yeah,
questions. This
but
was fun.
I really have to use the restroom. It was great to see you, ladies. But
Yeah, go do your
happy
thing.
Halloween. Bye,
You too.
everyone. This was
Bye.
Lucia.
No outro either.
Bye.
And
Bye. Bye.
Mary.
Bye. Bye.